What's going on, guys? This is Dave back with another experiment today. I hope you guys had a wonderful Christmas. And before we start the video, as always, if you guys have any requests for an experiment with a manager from an old club, it could be an old player, an old manager, please do let me know in the comments down below, and I hope you guys enjoy the video. What's up, guys? It's Dave and welcome to my channel. Make sure you drop a like down below and subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying the content. Now, watch this. Ugh. So on today's experiment we have got Paul Scholes as the manager of Manchester United. Of course, Scholes playing for the club for almost 20 years and then coming as a coach and then coming back out of retirement to play for another couple of seasons for United. Now, out of all the experiments he's done, he's probably got the poorest coaching and managing stats on the game. I mean, if I click on as a coach, I mean some of his stats are pretty decent. 15 attacking, 18 technical, 17 determination, but as a manager they're pretty poor. None higher than 12 and most of them lower than 10 actually. So his man management is 10, judging player ability and potential is 10 and 9 respectively, level of discipline is 12, motivating is 9 and tactical knowledge is 7. He may struggle a little bit, but again he's got the strong coaching staff at United to help him. His preferred formation is a 4-3-3 narrow, which is something we haven't seen before. Playing style is direct, coaching style is technical. Playing mentality is adventurous, pressing style is standoff, marking style man, and second preferred formation is a simple 4-4-2. Now his reputation is 1.5 stars, got a Continental A licence, and he's earning around £75,000 a week. He's on a 3-year contract till 2018. Now for Manchester United, we'll see kind of what is expected of them this season. And of course, he's got the same team that they started with, and he's media predicted to finish third in the league. Now, Scholes is only an icon at the club. He's not actually classed as a legend on the game, but he's an icon along with, you know, some of the likes of Roy Keane, Steve Bruce, Gary Neville, Beckham. Some huge names are up there anyway. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of happens. Don't know why Raphael is a favoured personnel at Manchester United, actually, along with Cristiano Ronaldo. But it'll be interesting to see how Scholes gets on with his stats. Probably not as strong as maybe you would have expected, and we'll check out how he does after the first season. So first season done with Scholes in charge of Manchester United. It's time to see how they did in the league. And in the Premier League, Manchester United finished in 4th place, 4 points behind Arsenal in 3rd, but 13 points behind eventual winners Chelsea. They finished a comfortable 4 points ahead of Tottenham as well. Just to make sure, Scholes is still manager of the club. He is, and Memphis Depay actually ended up getting top goal scorer awards. 28 goals, 7 goals ahead of Alexis Sanchez. 2 players you wouldn't deem to think are strikers anyway. So let's see who Scholes he brought in. And he started off with bringing in Sadio Mane from Southampton for 24.5 million. Fauzi Gulam from Napoli for 10.5 and Gabriel Barbosa from Santos for 9.75 million. Now Sadio Mane played 22 games. Well, he started 22 games, coming off the bench in 9, scoring 12, which isn't too bad of a return. Did okay in the Champions League as well. And Gulam from Napoli is a left back. Didn't really play at all. Started 7 games, coming off the bench in 10. Probably not what the Manchester United fans wanted to see. And Gabriel Barbosa, definitely one for the future. 19 years of age. Did okay. Started 20 games, grabbing 8 goals. Did okay in the Champions League, actually grabbing 4 goals as well. He'll be a huge part of the United future. Any big names leave the club? And Chris Smalling went to Chelsea for 8.5 million. Victor Valdez to Fiorentina for 600k. And Nick Powell went to Hull for 450k. A lot of players went out on loan, but no one really released on a free this season. In other competitions, of course, we know how they did in the league. They won the last 4, actually. Didn't start off well at all. Knocked out in the quarterfinals of the Champions League to PSG. That was won by Juventus in the end. 4th round, they were knocked out in a Manchester derby in the FA Cup, which was won by Arsenal. And they were knocked out in the 4th round of the Capital One Cup against Nottingham Forest, which they won't be impressed with at all. Quickly have a quick look at the schedule as well. We'll see how they did. We'll go on to the Premier League first. Now they started off, didn't lose their first 4, but went on a little dip here, winning just 1 in 4. After that, I mean, throughout, oh, let's go on the date first, possibly. That might work. They only won one in their first five, actually. They went on a good run then from the end of September up till the end of November. A slight dip, two losses against Watford and Bournemouth, which they probably weren't expecting. Other than that, they're pretty consistent along the way, losing to City, Chelsea, Spurs, a few of the bigger teams. Other than that, they did okay. FA Cup, if we can quickly get that up. Of course, losing to City. They actually beat Forest. It took them 2 legs to beat Forest, who actually struggled in the Championship. Quick look there, 20th they finished in the end. Took a replay to beat Forest on penalties, who, I mean, with 10 men they did pretty well there, but then lost to City at home 2-1. Again, they lost against Forest in the Capital One Cup as well, away from home. They lost 2-1 in that one. They beat Southampton in the third round on penalties. Martial and Barbosa scoring twice. Shane Long, Sarabia and Bertrand scoring there. Champions League, they had Monaco, Lyon and Zenit. Rather they had Lyon, Zenit and Maccabi Tel Aviv. A couple of tough teams. Zenit St. Petersburg, which they couldn't beat at all. They drew to them twice but won the rest of the games there. Beat Porto over 2 legs, 3-1 away but lost 1-0 at home. And then they lost over 2 legs to PSG. Zlatan Ibrahimovic actually getting sent off in the first leg. And the second leg, Di Maria scoring up against his old club. So a fairly okay first season for Scholes in all competitions, but they'll probably want to pick up a bit more form and go for more silverware. This season, most appearances was David De Gea. He had 51. 51 starts. Most appearances were actually Memphis Depay. 49 starts, 5 appearances off the bench. He was also their top goal scorer with 35 goals, followed by Mane. Barbosa, Rooney didn't have the best of seasons. He only grabbed 10 goals. Most assists was Juan Mata. He got 30. Luke Shaw with 10. Most player of the matches was Depay as well. And the best average rating was Memphis Depay. He grabbed a 7.73 average rating, which was expected after a very strong season from him. So we're going to holiday another season now, see how Scholes does. We'll actually have a quick look at the tactics he used in his last game. Now, he was using that 4-3-3. Rooney, Gabriel, Barbosa and Depay as the 3 strikers. And it's no surprise why Depay has been so lethal, because he was playing as a striker rather than a winger, which is interesting indeed. So no wingers playing. Maybe that's leaving the likes of Young out. Maybe Januzaj won't get back into the team when he comes back from loan. Who knows? We'll skip forward another season and find out, though. So the second season is now complete. Now it's time to see how Paul Scholes did in charge of United. They finished third in the league with 83 points, finishing just 6 points behind Manchester City, their rivals, at second. But 15 points behind Chelsea, who smashed the league, 98 points, losing just 4 games and drawing just 2. Now Scholes is actually no longer in charge of United. Frank de Boer is now in charge, and Rooney is actually no longer in as captain. So let's see what happened now. Scholes was sacked after 1 year, 246 days or 612 days, and he had a pretty strong win percentage, winning 60 and losing just 22, 14 games drawn, but he didn't win any silverware at his time. Giggs went in charge as a caretaker for just under 20 days. He won 3, lost 1, and De Boer now has already won 7 and lost 3 games in charge. Now Scholes, as a manager, I mean, his stats have gone up slightly in judging player ability and potential, and his level of discipline has gone up slightly. Preferred formation has actually changed to 4-2-3-1, which may be what he changed it to. His reputation's gone up as well, and we see his achievements as a manager. He was sacked, but there was no real losses. If you check here, in 2017 it says that he changed his preferred formation. However, he did fail to qualify from the Champions League group, which we'll have a look at now. First of all, we'll have a look at the transfers though. And he brought in Andreas Samaris from Benfica, Laporte from Bilbao, John Stones from Everton, Nelson Semedo from Benfica, Diego Roland from Bordeaux, and Grigoris Pantelidis, I think that is from Olympiacos, who spent well over 100 million. First of all, we'll look at Samaris, and he's a Greek 27-year-old international, plays defensive midfield or midfield. His stats are okay. He's just valued just under 30 million actually. He's a regular for United. And had a decent average rating as well, so not a bad signing there from Scholes. Laporte, who's a very strong player on this game, a huge average rating of 7.82, playing exactly 50 games for Manchester United. John Stones as well, a very good centre-back, playing 52 games, so that must have been the new centre-back partnership for Manchester United, which got him up to third place in the league. Nelson Semedo from Benfica as well. He is a right back. He only started 10 games, coming off the bench in 9. Wasn't brilliant for them, but he's still quite young. Diego Roland, I think, is a striker. From Bordeaux, played 24 games, coming off the bench in 12 and scoring 12 goals as well. Not a bad return. And Grigoris Pantelidis from Olympiacos is a regen, 17 years of age. And, wow, I thought he actually scored 29 goals in the league then. Mainly playing in the youth, and for the under-18s he smashed it, to be fair. So he might be getting a call up possibly to the first team next season under De Boer. Players who left, anyone for big fees? No one actually left the club permanently. Only players of, oh yeah, yes they did, sorry. Juan Mata went to Chelsea for 19 million. Gulam left and went to Leverkusen for 7.5 million. And Tyler Blackett went to QPR for 1.4 million. So Gulam, the new signing, left just after less than a year. So clearly seemed surplus to requirements. So we'll go and look at the competitions. Obviously, De Boer's had a bit of an impact on the last few games. But they were knocked out in the group stage of the Champions League. And by the looks of it, they weren't even in the Europa League. So they must have finished bottom of their group. But we'll have a look at that in a second. Runner-up of the FA Cup to Arsenal. And then they lost to Arsenal as well in the fourth round of the Capital One Cup, which was also won by Arsenal. So also had a pretty strong season domestically. And unfortunately, Manchester United couldn't quite match that. The schedule we'll have a quick look at now. The Champions League, of course. Well, we've got the Rooney testimonial first. He still plays for the club. He actually played 41 games, but he's been replaced as captain for some reason. But we'll look at that more in depth in a second. First of all, we'll look at the Barclays Premier League. It started off pretty well. They didn't lose a game until towards the end of October, which was against Man City. And then they went on a slight dip of form there, losing against Newcastle and Tottenham. Again, from the end of November up until the middle of January, they didn't lose a game. Then got smashed against Arsenal at the Emirates. And they didn't draw a game actually after the New Year, but they got quite a few losses, losing to Stoke and Southampton. Man City again got the double over them, and Spurs beating them, and Chelsea as well. Now in the FA Cup, obviously they got to the final. Beat Charlton, took them to a replay, beat Sunderland, Southampton, Stoke and Spurs. They had quite a tricky run. I mean, look at that. They had 9 men against Spurs and ended up winning that game, which is pretty strong as well. In the Capital One Cup, though, lost to Arsenal again, beat Spurs, and then lost to Spurs rivals Arsenal. Daley Blind getting sent off could have cost them, but Manchester United actually took them to extra time there. And the Champions League, they started off pretty bright. They had a very, very tough group though. Wow. Marseille, Napoli and Bayern. What a tough group that is. Beat Marseille and Napoli, so got off pretty well. But then Bayern smashed them 3-0 at Old Trafford, losing, then drawing 0-0 at the Allianz Arena. And then losing to Marseille and Napoli, which must have left them at the bottom of the group. Now the final still yet to take place, but Group E, Manchester United finishing bottom, only by 2 points. They could have won the group. What a tight group that is. But Manchester United, unfortunately, having less points than everybody else and quite a poor goal difference as well. That may have been a factor in the sacking of Paul Scholes. Player-wise, who played well this season? Most appearances was David De Gea, 54. Followed by John Stones and Laporte, the new signings. Most goals this season was Depay again. Barbosa closely behind with Diego Roland as well with 12. Most assists, 17 this season for Ander Herrera, obviously selling the main playmaker, Juan Mata, from last year. Most man of the matches was Laporte, followed by Memphis Depay as well. And best average rating was 7.82, which was new signing Laporte as well. There's no point in me showing you the tactics, because now it would come up with De Boer's rather than Paul Scholes'. But like to see if he's dropped now. He's still actually classed as an icon at the club, which is good. Glad he's not gone off there despite him being sacked, but he didn't do too bad. We'll quickly check when he was sacked again, and I'll check what happened in the league. 4th of March. Now, if we look at their schedule, I'm guessing they must have lost a game at that point because I don't think he would have been sacked otherwise. March, 4th of March, they lost 3-1 in the Manchester derby, and that must have, ended it for them. They only won one in 4, and it was 3-1, and they had 10 men in that one as well. And where were they in the league, I wonder, at that point as well? If we quickly check, I mean, they've actually ended up better than their predicted finish. And past positions, if we go Manchester United, if we just click them rather, and we want to go to about here. They were still 4th. They were still in the top 4, but clearly didn't do enough for the Manchester United board. I think Scholes was a bit harshly sacked, but he did his job in the end, and that was that. And he has been sacked, and Frank de Boer is the man Manchester United board have chosen to take forward the club. But guys, if you did enjoy this episode, please do drop me a like down below. I very much appreciate it. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. You can follow me over on my Twitter, which is @DaveAsAPartyFM. All the links to that are in the description down below. And I'll see you all next time. See you guys.